believe it? Dude, we're not even in March yet, and we're getting these high-quality wrestling matches week in and week out. Before I get to all that, my name's Flobo Boyce. You're locked into Draped in Gold, the unofficial NXTUK and NXT after-show, post-show, whatever show you want to call it. I still think it's kind of odd here in the West Coast. We get to watch people put their lives on the line at 12 o'clock noon. But as we recap everything that's happening in the world of the yellow and black brand, I am not alone. I'm being joined by the man who is the CEO of Jack Farmer Productions, Jack C. Farmer Productions, because the C stands for Cobra. Give it up for the man himself, Jack Farmer.
Howdy ho, neighbor. I am excited to be here. We don't have the guest firepower this week that we had last week, but I still think we're going to have a good show.
Oh, yeah. I just want to give everyone a shout out who's piling into the chat right now on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. We do this live. And if you're listening on the podcast version, do the favor, hit us with a review. 5 stars is what we need. Now, Jack, NXT UK, a lot of things happening this week, as it seems to be everywhere. They pack so much in 1 hour, but let's go from the top down. This main event here was already with bad blood, with Wild Boar being taken out before even having Flash Morgan Webster, Mark Andrews against your boy Eddie Dennis and Primate. Now I want you to make all the excuses you can because your boy was on the losing end tonight.
Excuses? I shouldn't have to make excuses, Flobo. I shouldn't have to come up with reasons. We all saw it right in the beginning. Morgan Andrews and Webster and Mark Andrews, Flash Morgan, they resorted to cheap tactics right off the bat. They couldn't face the hunt the way it was supposed to be done, the way it was supposed to be finalized. What did they have to do? They had to do cheap tactics and go backstage and attack Boar. I'm shocked that they even let this go through, but Eddie Dennis, being a warrior that he is, still came through, still showed up, and still put on an amazing match. Sometimes I forget he's so smart. I forget that he also can wrestle, Flobo. So he still brought it to these two, even though he didn't have time to repair. He didn't have time to get ready. He didn't even have time to get his tights on. He was wrestling in his clothes because he wasn't ready. But he said, you know what? I'm going to do the right thing, and I'm going to compete tonight. And he damn near won.
You forgot the guy on the NXT UK roster can actually wrestle. I don't believe 1 second of that. Before I tell you how wrong you are, I want to give a shout out to Adam Ghazi. I got to return your phone call, man. I'm so sorry about that. You called me. I was like, oh, yeah. And I totally forgot. Dude, please don't follow me. And please don't hate the show now. But look, man, I understand this is a war. And, of course, there's going to be consequences on both sides. I saw what happened there. I understand poor Eddie Dennis and Primate just, going to bat for their friends. But as the intro promo package told us, this team of Eddie Dennis and The Hunt have been absolutely terrorizing. It's about time they got their comeuppance, frankly. It's about time they had some retribution for their actions. They can't run roughshod backstage.
And who made this video package, Flobo?
The mainstream media.
Who made it? Huh? Who put this together? I bet it was those two jokers, Flash Morgan and Mark Andrews, that put it together to tell a narrative, because they knew they couldn't win one-on-one. They couldn't win 2-on-2. They couldn't win the right way. So they had to put together this propaganda first, then use it to attack backstage before the match started, before getting to the match, and they still almost couldn't get the job done. I got to give them credit. That moonsault, though, off the top of the building is outstanding. And I also got to give them credit. Sometimes when you have high flyers like those two, you forget how tough they really are. They took a beating. I got to give those guys credit. It was actually pretty amazing. But I'll be honest, if they were as smart as Eddie Dennis, they'd have worn the helmet the whole match. They wouldn't have left it on the sideline. I know I would have worn the helmet the whole match.
Yeah.
But that was probably one of my favorite chair battles, by the way, that I've seen. That was really fun to watch.
It's a rendition of Stomp. That's what it was.
But Eddie Dennis, he's smart enough to bounce back from this, and I don't think that this is a real win. This is one of those ones that has an asterisk next to it. The Hunt are the real winners here because they were cheated. They were cheated.
I was with you to asterisk, but a loss is a loss. And I know we got to move on this, but I had a moment of ugly American. If you guys know what an ugly American is when you are so American you think your culture means anything. So I'm watching the match. I'm like, oh, there's kendo sticks in Europe too. Not knowing a kendo stick isn't even an American thing. So, I apologize.
That is so funny.
I didn't realize that.
Oh,
That's the thing that we have.
I wonder if they have French fries over there.
I know. I need to know this. Is this French fries in Europe? Let me know at Flobo Boyce on Twitter. Moving on to people you love, the people you don't like. Piper Niven had a match against the French Hope Amel, and Piper Niven was on the winning end. Props to her, at least I thought, but I know you were sitting at home stewing because for some reason Kaylee Ray is on top because she took out Piper Niven a couple weeks ago. Thoughts about the match, and where does Piper Niven go from here?
I know you have assumptions about what I'm going to say about these two. I know you think you know what I'm going to say, but look, I thought she looked great. She came out strong. She did amazing things. Amel is a star. I think she's great.
We all know Amel's a star. I'm talking about your love-hate relationship apparently with Piper Niven. What's the deal, bro?
I was actually really proud of her today. I'm proud of her for finally moving on from Kaylee Ray.
Thanks, Maj. French fries in Europe.
I'm proud of her for moving on and finally doing her own thing, getting over this weird obsession she had with Kaylee Ray. And I'm excited. Joseph Connors came out. I think hopefully, she's going to employ the services of Jinny and maybe get a makeover and get a fashion redo to start being as good looking as Jinny is. I think this could be a good thing for her if she just, asks for help from Jinny, which I think is what's coming next.
How do you ask for help from someone you had a fight with the week before? Hey, I know we got this giant war, but I'm just looking for some fashion tips.
You do it to me every week, Flobo.
That's true, but because you're a fancy Jack, that's a brand. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jinny's also hard hitting, also conniving, also a bad day, a bad person, at least on camera.
I mean, look, take your own personal bias out of it, Flobo. I know you have your own personal bias, but imagine how great a team of Jinny the fashionista with Piper Niven together, working together with Joseph Connors, keeping it safe on the outside the way he does. I think that'd be a great tag team. That'd be the kind of tag team that would get the tag team titles brought overseas to be defended. I think those two would be a great duo.
You're actually right. That actually would be good tag. I mean, they wouldn't even on camera. They wouldn't even work. But I think if it was a poster and they were on one side versus the current tag team champions, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I want to see Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler against Piper Niven and Jinny. I'll watch.
That would be great. I would love to see Piper throw around Nia Jax and Jinny. I don't know if she'd throw around Shayna Baszler, but I'd like to see them have a match.
If it did, though, that would be like the most viral moment ever. Like, what?
I don't know if anyone throws around Shayna Baszler, but I think that'd be fun to watch. I think those two would be a great team. I just think Piper Niven just needs to put her ego aside for a little bit, quit thinking about herself, and quit thinking about her weird obsessions with Kaylee Ray and say, look, I need help. Joseph Connors, thank you so much for coming to ringside and talking some sense into me. I think Piper, as long as she can put her ego aside, could have a bright future working with Jinny.
Real quick, if you were the head of talent relations, Piper Niven, one more go for the NXT United Kingdom Women's Championship, or does she go stateside to NXT Classic?
That's an interesting question. I think I've seen a little bit too much of her and Kaylee Ray. So I want to see her do some other things, but I feel like she could do some damage over in NXT. That said, I'm selfish, Flo, but I don't like to let people leave. So I would want to keep her with me over at NXT UK and have her do some work there. There's still a lot of stuff for her to do there. Maybe if I'm keeping her at NXT UK and I want her to really push herself, I want her and Valkyrie to go at it.
Ooh, I like it. I think Valkyrie is also in the heavyweight class along with Amel. That'd be kind of cool matchup there. Adam Ghazi says, I still need a reference from Fancy Jack for a live-in suit guy. Yo, you got to share the details, man. You can't be out here just hoarding the wealth. How do I get a live-in suit person?
Well, right now there's a negotiation between the Robert Stone brand guy and my personal living guy. It's very messy right now. We can't talk about it on air, but don't worry, we'll get to you.
Oh, there you go. Sorry, man. If you go to Jack's Patreon or buy a T-shirt at what's it, Jack Farmer, Jack C Farmer, Real Jack Farmer,
realjackfarmer.threadless.com.
Yep.
Buy a sweatshirt. Buy a sweatshirt. Buy a T-shirt.
I've got one. I'll wear it today at the Everything Tournament.
You're too kind.
That's only because the heat's out of my apartment. Okay, so at the top of the show, if you could imagine this, we had the debut of Meiko Satomura at the beginning of NXT UK this week, taking on Isla Dawn. And Isla Dawn's, like I said, mentioned on Twitter, her win-loss record wasn't the greatest, but put that aside. This match had no business being as good as it had to be because of the placement of it and the time given. But I was blown away by not only the debut of Satomura, but Isla Dawn can hang. Thoughts about the matchup, Jack Farmer?
So I want to address Isla Dawn first. I think that she really stepped up this week. I think she really put on a show. She had a challenger that had so much hype coming in, and I mean hype in a good way, but so much build coming in. There was so much interest and intrigue, and we all know she's amazing. But Isla Dawn stepped up. I think a lot of people would have been too scared to take on a match like that, or they would have come in.
You would.
Jitters. I wouldn't have fought her. No way. But she came in strong. She came in well trained. She came in with a game plan. I think she did amazing. She took an L today, but this was a great showing for her. I think we could both agree that you can't win them all, but sometimes even in a loss, you grow. And I thought she grew today. I don't know. Go ahead.
I'm agreeing with you. I think Isla Dawn gets slept on again because much like Jack Stars, because the win loss and Tyson T-Bone, their win loss records are, I would arguably say, are the weakest on the roster. But the skill displayed today, if you can buy stock in Isla Dawn to take something from Elite of the Week, our sister show, I would. Because there's only up from here. And once the wins start stringing together, Isla Dawn could be an absolute threat for that brand. But the question I have for you is about Satomura. Did the thing, one of the greatest on the planet, the final boss, as they said affectionately, was in the Mae Young Classic, a whole other level of the kind of matches she works. Is NXT the right home for her? And if so, who do you want to see? Even though she had mentioned Kaylee Ray, is NXT UK the right home for her? But would you keep her here, and who would you put her with next?
Satomura, this is something that we could talk about how great she looked in the match, and she looked amazing, right? And she's someone who, even if you'd never heard of her, never seen her, she has a presence about her. You can tell she's a big deal. You can tell she's good. She has that finished product vibe to her. She has that look like she's been doing this for a while, and she knows what she's doing, and she's comfortable in the ring. But beyond that, Flobo, the thing that really stood out to me watching this match, beyond just how great the wrestling was you could feel everyone in the building respected her. You could hear it in the way Nigel talked about her. You could see it in the way Kaylee Ray showed up to watch her live. You could hear about it in how Sasha Banks herself wants a go at her. She is a big deal. This is a big pickup. Now, you asked where she should be. Is NXT UK the right spot for her? She's at a place where she wants to face the very best on the planet. And right now, the best on the planet is Kaylee Ray, and she's the champion of the NXT UK women's division, and that's the only place she's going to get her. So is she in the right spot? Yes, with a bullet.
Absolutely. I mean, I like her in NXT UK. They'll give her the time to do the kind of hard-hitting style where that's the best way to describe what UK can do that most brands don't. I won't say strong style. It became a buzzword, but they allow you to work a little bit tougher than a lot of the brands, only because I feel like our American sensibilities, we love our theatrics a little bit more. Not to knock us Americans, because we have Kendo 6 here too. I'm just saying, like, if you hit hard.
Yeah, I'm the king of soft style.
Is that ice cream or
just gentle?
Can we talk this out? Can we talk this out?
Discussion king.
The discussion king. I like the match for a lot of reasons. Again, Isla Dawn impressed. Nakamura impressed. That's Nakamura. Wow. Sorry about that.
Wow.
Satomura impressed. I knew that was going to happen, man. When you put K's in the first name and T's in the last name, I knew my brains would be like spoonerism.
Right. Well, we were talking strong style a lot, so that's fine.
We absolutely were. Please don't unfollow me. The one thing I was kind of, I won't say disappointed in. One thing I really wanted to see, though, would be a bit more time. Now, I know this is only an hour show, and we have a lot of promos here, too, which we'll get to in a second. But I really think that what Satomura works is that long-form storytelling. So the quicker she gets a storyline with the Kaylee Ray, where they give her the 20-minute main event spot, I think we can really unlock the potential of what she can do.
Right now, Isla Dawn's listening to this and like, what do you expect from me? I tried as hard as I could. I lasted as long as I could, man. What do you want? She's like, I just thinking, I wish I could have gone longer too, Flobo, but there's only so much you can take. That's like, man, I like Mike Tyson, but I wish people would stand in the ring with him a little bit longer.
No, I should never do our show. so moving on, do the things that got time was actually a segment I'm beginning to appreciate, the Supernova Sessions. Noam Dar with his luscious locks, and Shaw Samuels, for one, finally got my answer on screen about the whole Ed Harvey situation.
Yeah.
But two is now the number one contender to the Heritage Cup. Walk me through this one, Jack.
This was the best Supernova Sessions they've done so far. This was great. This was entertaining, man. I love this. I love Noam Dar. I love how he handles this. By the way, line of the night, line of the week. Call my therapist and tell her she's fired. I'm perfect as I am. That should be on everyone's Instagram in their little quotes that we all need to remember.
What happened next, though?
Yeah, we're perfect as we are. Shaw Samuels comes out, by the way, and I love how they're chumming it up. They were great. I was great listening to them. I loved how Shaw Samuels was like, I'm not sitting there. He's like, yeah, that seat's for idiots. And I like how as Shaw Samuels was like, I'm going to tell him this. And in the background, you could hear Dar being like, yeah, you tell him, like hyping each other up. It was great. I loved the interaction with Sid, how they were like, oh no, he's the boss. I'm a pretty big deal around here though. But oh no, I'm not. I don't. I know where I stand of things. Yeah. I'm gonna get you this shot. Don't worry. It was fun banter back and forth. And Shaw Samuels, now one of my favorite wrestlers. I don't know what he meant when he said A-Kid was probably in Madrid with his trotters up. I have no idea what that means, but I bet that was a great burn. So I'm just gonna go with it. And Shaw Samuels, to me, just as I was watching this and hearing him talk and the way he carries himself as this big, terrifying dude, he reminded me of when you go to the bar and there's some really loud, scary guy making a bunch of noise, and you're thinking to yourself, please, God, don't let him come over here. Please, God, don't let him talk to me. Maybe I should leave before he does, because he's going to beat us up and make a big problem while he's here.
What bars do you go
That's
to?
The kind of guy he reminds me of. And I'm like, dude, this guy's great. I can't wait to see him stir up trouble. I love the guys that stir up trouble, and I love these two guys seeming like they're just going to get into all sorts of trouble. I'm excited for these two. I had a grin on my face this entire segment. I loved it, and I can't wait to see those two cause trouble.
Dylan Matthews in our last segment said Kelly Ray versus Io Shirai versus Sasha Banks versus Asuka would slap, which I agree for a lot of reasons. But yeah, I agree with you. Now I'm understanding what Shaw Samuels is in this system, or in the NXT UK, where he's like the loose cannon, if you will. Like I said, my notes were pretty much on par with yours. I liked where he told Scala that he's the help. He told him to help you sweep up and fix the T. So the T is actually worse. Right. Worse than sweeping up. I put down loose cannon and Shaw Samuels, almost like the Brian Pillman thing. I agree, but is it the right call, though? I mean, A-Kid's probably lounging in Madrid, signing autographs, getting these promo deals, holding that cup up on billboards somewhere in downtown Madrid. But now he has a former Ed Hardy. He has Shaw Samuels next week, possibly, definitely, on NXT UK. I mean, is it going to be a short reign for A-Kid?
Well, A-Kid has done great. A-Kid is amazing.
Okay.
I still think he is currently the 2021 breakout star of the year. Someone's got to take that from him. If he was to lose the Heritage title next week, I'd still be, dude, you crushed it. Great job. I don't know, though. I've learned to never bet against A-Kid. He damn near took Walter to the limit. I'm not gonna count him out.
No, he didn't.
They are going to have a fantastic match next week. It's going to be one of those ones that we get on here and we're like, oh my God, I can't believe they did it again. If you are watching this for us to talk about NXT, the NXT Prime, please do yourself a favor and check out NXT UK next week, because it's going to be so good. But I like it. I don't know who's going to win that one. I like Shaw Samuels, though. I want to see him do more stuff. I want to see him get in more trouble. I want to see him just be that guy that mixes things up. I like him. I'm a fan of his.
And lastly, we had a bunch of promos this week that were pretty much interesting. We had Rampage Brown, Joe Coffey with Johnny Saint. Johnny Saint's side was pretty cool. Danny Luna had some time. Ava Valkyrie had some time with a promo, and Trent Seven says something that really threw me off: is that he's the oldest man on the roster. And besides Satomura, he is. I had to look it up. He's 39 years old. Had no idea that roster is that young as it is. Just walk me through any one of these that kind of got to you. Rampage Brown, Joe Coffey, Danny Luna, Ava Valkyrie, and Trent Seven.
The two women promos were great. I think that both those guys, Danny and Valkyrie, are two people I want to see more of, so I was excited for them. But the two that really stood out to me, Joe Coffey versus Rampage Brown, as you said, Saint showed up for that, which to me says something. The fact that they brought him in to declare that it wasn't just Sid Scalia saying it or them making it backstage. It was something that was a big moment that happened. And that means something. And as I said on Twitter, man, NXT UK, they do not care. That's the kind of match that you could build up for like 3 months and make it a huge takeover style match. But not at NXT UK. There's like, nah, man, we're just going to do it next week. Let's just do it next week. Why wait? Let's just let these two kill each other. Who cares?
Oh, yeah. Who you got?
So I'm. It's a tough call. It's a coin flip, but when I flip that coin, it lands with Joe Coffey facing up. I think right now he is the toughest guy in the United Kingdom, not named Walter. And I think that he's just been on such a tear. He's been on such a roll. He's got everything going for him. He's got all the momentum. It's not going to be an easy one for him, but I think Joe Coffey gets the win. And Rampage, he'll do fine. He'll bounce back. He's such a tough dude. But I also wanted to piggyback on the Trent Seven thing. And as I said before, something about Trent Seven, he's so good at these kind of promos. He's so good at these kind of video packages. The kind of things that the kind of things people would turn into an hour-long documentary, he can just pump out into a quick promo. It's incredible. He talks with so much emotion and passion, and you can really feel that it's an important thing when he talks. And I think he's amazing at those. I think he's great. And I think just as a presentation in NXT UK, his promos are second to none.
Yeah, I like to see his journey of cutting weight, which brings a little air of realism because I guess they're really holding true to the weight class system here in at least the NXT UK. So yeah, I was on board with that, but it really tripped me out. And I went down to every person in the roster. I was like, Saxon Huxley? No. Walter's actually younger than I am. Like I was like trying to figure out. It just blows my mind.
Every year that goes by, it gets more and more dangerous to look up how old athletes are, Flobo.
Yeah, this young kid. Now I feel like my dad.
Right.
But before we head on to NXT Classic, hey, Jack Farm, I got a question for you. Don't we do a show together on your network?
Yeah, we do a show. It's called Elite of the Week. And what it is we take AEW Dynamite and we power rank the top 10 wrestlers on the show every single week. So we don't just go through what happened, but we actually say, who was the best this week? Who was the second best? Who was the third best? And for you negative Nancys out there, we even have a dud of the week. So the person who was the worst, we like to rank them as well. We do it every single Wednesday, 11 p.m. Eastern time, 8 p.m. Pacific time.
Let's talk about NXT, man. Vengeance Day is this Sunday. We'll get to a little preview there if we have some time. But let's talk about this Dusty Cup matches. MSK versus Legado del Fantasma. I had a feeling that whoever was going to win this bracket was probably going to win the whole thing. And thankfully for me, it was MSK. I was not a fan of them in the previous employer at Impact. I'll admit it. I know when I'm wrong. But they came to play. Their weird names aside, Wes Lee and Nash Carter punched their ticket to the finals.
I mean, this was such a good match. I could watch these guys have matches every single week. Honestly, like it was so much fun. It was great watching them work together. They had such great chemistry together. It was so just really well done. I think that the right team won. I love Legado del Fantasma, but I think MSK has just come in with such energy, such fire, such passion. Like you said, I knew of them in their previous employers, but like they didn't like catch me. I wasn't like into them. Now I'm into them. Now I'm interested. Now
what changed?
I don't know what it is. I think there's just so much fire and energy. I was going to say that the Legado del Fantasma and MSK together, like when it started, I was like, these guys are kind of the bar of wrestling, of tag team wrestling. And I know that's a cliche now because of you boys, but they were kind of the bar. But as I'm watching this, I'm feeling like MSK isn't just raising the bar. They're kind of creating their own bar. within NXT. Like they're kind of their own thing. There's not really other teams like them in NXT right now. And it's incredible the way they work together and they do things. That backflip off the apron into the shove was such a cool move. Cool. And the fact that they just busted that out on a regular Wednesday, they could have saved that for a takeover. Why aren't you saving it for a takeover? I'm glad you didn't, though. I want all the cool stuff today. But what I just thought this was really amazing. I thought they were the right team to win. They were the right team to go forward. Legado del Fantasma, I love them, but they definitely need to find a way to get some teeth. They need to find a way to get a little more dangerous. But that said, that Legado del Fantasma shirt, I'd rock that, Flobo. I know you like to always know what kind of wrestling shirts I would wear.
Because I can never pin down your taste. It seems to be a moving target.
It is, but I like that. I really like that Legado del Fantasma shirt. I like it because it's very lucha, but it also feels like something I could wear and someone wouldn't be like, why are you wearing that? If that makes sense.
Who are these haters in your life? As I'm wearing my Samoa Joe sweatshirt. Who are these haters that said you can't wear wrestling stuff?
Well, it's at the bar where the drunk guy picks on me.
The same dude. Josh Samuels.
I'm from Tacoma, Flobo. This is what we do.
The mean streets of Tacoma. Hell yeah. Do you think we're ever going to figure out what MSK stands for or no? Just a quick question.
I don't know. I have a feeling it's going to be one of those things that is a moving target. Like I said, kind of like FTR. I feel like they're going to, I don't know. If it was meant to be known, I think they would have said something. Because now, what could it be that would be interesting? Like Mean Street Killers? I don't know.
Fair.
Like, what could you say? What could they reveal it as to make you go, oh?
Yeah. I hope it's not something dumb like, I know, we should wear a mask. A mask. MSK. Okay, moving on. Yeah. We had a tag team matchup on the other side of the bracket there. Quote, Toothless Timothy and Old Man Thatcher against grizzled young veterans with GYV taking the win. The other side heading into the Dusty Cup final. Cool to see that two tag teams are moving on to the Dusty Cup final on Sunday. Before that, let's talk about the match today. GYV, another team that was on fire, got to the promised land as far as it could last year. This could be the year to win it all. So thoughts about the match and thoughts about the prospects on Sunday.
I thought this was a really fun match. In fact, I started to buy into Thatcher and Champ as a tag team throughout the course of the match. I did. They are so, first off, Champ, well, I bought into Champ a lot. He has such a intensity when he wrestles, such an urgency and such a fire when he wrestles that I enjoy his matches. They just always seem very intense. And I thought that Thatcher was kind of catching on with that. It was kind of working with them. That said, I picked Grizzled Young Veterans to win this thing at the beginning. I love them. I still think they're going to win. It does feel a little bit like a kiss of death that Wade Barrett keeps saying that they're going to win it. But right. I do think that they're the best tag team in NXT UK right now, or NXT right now. And I think that it's by a large margin. And that's no disrespect to anyone else. Like I said, I just talked about how great MSK is. I just talked about how great other teams are. But their combination, like I said, of being able to talk, of being able to wrestle, of their grittiness, of their speed, of their power, of everything, they're just on the stat chart unstoppable. And so I think they're definitely the team to watch. Something sneaky has been happening, though, Flobo, that I don't think a lot of people have talked about. Ciampa is starting to rack up quite the list of L's lately. And because he took the pin today, and he also took the L to Thatcher recently, he's starting to sneakily collect a lot of L's and sneakily starting to become very beatable.
Sneakily? He's been taking L's forever. I think it's obvious as hell. I'm thinking he's growing his hair out at a protest. And I thought that maybe after the result tonight, there would have been a breakup or like a rope-a-dope, but that wasn't the case. Now, JYV has every right to win on Sunday. What is it, Jack? What? You're pouting at me.
Flobo, we're broadcasters. You're supposed to make it sound like what you see, no one else sees. That's half the game. So of course it was obvious, but I gotta say it's sneaky so that people think that I can see better than they do.
I'm a hater.
What an amazing! I noticed it too, Jack. You and I are both such good analysts. What a crazy thing!
Do you know what? Do you read your Electro book? Look, man, you guys know how I feel about this new Ciampa or the old Ciampa, but let's talk about GYV. GYV. I like the fact, in a very British way, they come out feeling themselves. They have scarves with their name on it, like they're an actual team, which is
Yeah.
so awesome. I do think they win on Sunday. They should win on Sunday. Excuse me. Not to knock MSK, I think they might steal the show if it doesn't steal the show already, and it may be a match that really redefines what the Dusty Cup Classic is all about. So I'm rooting for them. I thought Thatcher and Ciampa were going to dissolve last night after their loss because the team doesn't make sense. It seems very old school that they basically had a fight pit and said, let's go in this tournament together. I was looking for a turn, didn't happen, but thankfully, hopefully this is a makeshift tag team by the end of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd prefer them together as opposed to separate, personally. Yeah, I think what I was thinking when I was watching Grizzled Young Veterans too is I was looking around NXT, and I mistakenly said NXT UK earlier, but am I really wrong? Like when we talk about how great NXT UK is, and we talk about how hard hitting they are and how great NXT UK is, but then you go over to NXT and I look around, I'm like, who's the best tag team? Grizzled Young Veterans. Who's the champ? Finn Balor. Who's the contender? Pete Dunne. I mean, you look at like the women in the division, Rhea Ripley, Toni Storm. Is NXT UK kind of taking over NXT?
Yeah, because with NXT's, I'll tell you exactly what happened. This is my theory, y'all. So 4 years ago, NXT was known for these back and forth matches that were really independent style wrestling. But guess what? It gets co-opted, right? More and more brands are doing that all across the country. So what do you go next? Well, Strong Style is kind of filling out. Let's go with this whole throwback, hit hard, smash mouth style. Not quite Strong Style, but being able to be the character you want to be a threat, to be rock stars again. NXT UK has been doing that for years, and I don't see why they wouldn't harvest that for NXT, a brand that ends up being the American wrestling's incubation lab to see what works in the art form and sports. So yes, if you guys love wrestling, if you love NXT, you should be watching NXT UK because you'll be in the future, y'all.
No, it's true, and I don't want to sound like we're just over promoting NXT UK because we had Andy Shepherd on last week. Which, if you didn't see last week's episode, you definitely need to. But a lot of people, I think, started watching NXT back in the day because it was their way of seeing the guys and girls who are going to be stars on SmackDown and Raw in the future. Well, I'm telling you, there's a new level to that. There's levels to this game, and that new level is NXT UK is where those people are coming from now. That's where the talent is really being harvested, so to speak. So yeah. You definitely should check it out, not just for seeing where they're going in the future, but like I said, man, you watch a Walter match and tell me he's done. There's no more harvesting and growing for that big boy to do. He's done.
He's a real big, strong boy. Him, John, mate. Big, strong boy. Let's talk about the women's side of the Dusty Cup Classic. Dusty Cup. We have Shotzi Blackheart, Ember Moon. Sorry, I'll look at my notes. I have Indy Hartwell versus Candice LeRae against Shotzi Blackheart, Ember Moon, which now I finally get. The winners are Blackheart and Moon, but yeah, Jack, I'm not lying to you. For months, I was on the show being like, who is Ember Moon? But seeing her with the apocalypse vibe coming off the tank, I kind of get it. I'm on board.
The team of Shotzi and Ember?
Yeah.
I like it too. I think they fit together as a team. I think they look great as a team. And I think it's something that's great for them to, like, a new realm for them to conquer, so to speak. I think so many times you see these two individual stars and you think, oh, well, they got to be the women's champion. There can only be one women's champion, and that's going to be Io Shirai until the end of time. So you got to find something else to do. We'll talk about that in a second. But right now you have these two. I think it's a great pairing. I think they work together really, really well. I do feel like in that match, who really stood out to me, though, was Indy Hartwell, because she's in a ring with three women who are bona fide stars, who are champions in their own right, who we all look at as the future. And Indy Hartwell's, of the four, the new one. The one that's kind of newer to the group, right? The one that hasn't been to the promised land or talked about going to the promised land yet, but she hung in there, and she hung in there as a champ, and she really looked like she belonged. And at the end of the day, look, all heroes don't wear capes. She saved her friend, her mentor, Candice LeRae, from taking a shot, and she deserves credit for that move.
She get all the credit you want, but you don't get a chance to win the Dusty Cup. But Dylan Matthews agrees with you, kind of. Says the wrong decision here. Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae should have won. Should have. Doesn't matter when you're getting stunned off the top rope by an Eclipse. But Monj says you can't have two heels in the finals. I don't know what heels and faces are. Those are insider terms. Chuck Farmer, did the right team win tonight?
I wanted the way to win. My heart was with them because I just think what they do to the wrestling community is so positive and good. But I think that seeing Shotzi and Ember have a place in this final is good. I actually think the right team won as well because now that I think about it, Raquel Gonzalez is going to choke slam everybody, and I don't want to see Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell get choke slammed. So yeah, I think the right team won. Because I don't want to see them run into the buzzsaw known as Raquel Gonzalez.
Positive and good. Okay, so who do you have on Sunday then? Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez against Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon for the Dusty Cup Women's Final.
I've said it from the beginning. Raquel Gonzalez could win this whole thing by herself. So of course she's going to win. Dakota Kai, again, all due respect to Dakota Kai, I think she's great too. I think she's doing some of the best stuff she's ever done. But Raquel Gonzalez is just the destroyer of worlds. Like, it doesn't matter who's on the other side. She's going to win this thing. She could win it on her own.
That's true. Speaking of super heavyweights or heavyweight women in this division, Mercedes Martinez had a bit of a promo, which I actually enjoyed because she is in that match on Sunday at Vengeance Day as well. Triple threat match for the NXT Women's Championship. Mercedes Martinez taking on Io Shirai and Toni Storm. One thing I wanted to note, though, in her promo, she says, quote, "This is why I came back for the NXT Championship," a kind of a weird nod to either Retribution or coming back to the WWE system. Is she a sympathetic figure this Sunday? Does that make you want to root for her, Mercedes Martinez, and her title aspirations?
I like Mercedes Martinez. This is one of those matches that I like everybody, to be totally honest. So
I bet you do, asterisk.
It's one of those deals where as I'm watching it, I'm like, man, it's tough because I want all of them to win, but I also want all of them to lose for the same reason, if that makes sense.
You're the worst friend ever.
I got a feeling that the winner will end up being Toni Storm. But that said, I think it's cool that she made the nod, that she left and came back. I like when people bring that kind of stuff out and they talk about those kind of things, because when they do, it lets you connect more instead of being like, oh, I didn't leave. Like, we all know she left. Let's just acknowledge it. Let's talk about it. Let's get it out there and let's let her be a real person. So I liked it. I thought it was great. I think they're going to have, if it weren't for that Dusty Classic, the men's Dusty Classic finals, I would say that this would be the one that is going to steal the show. But I think it'll be a good second place.
Maz has you down as Zach, the asterisk farmer. I'm going to keep this up as long as I can on the screen here so you can see it. Troll move. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, it's just because sometimes people don't understand what I'm saying, and so I have to put the asterisk there to clarify things. That's all it is.
You can't insult our fan base. We have so little fans to begin with.
That makes it easier.
Hey, you! You guys don't get me at all. And finally, in the women's division, we had a match of Xia Li of Xian Shaw taking on Cora Jade, the former Elena Black. The match itself was pretty much wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. But both Caden Carter and Casey Catanzaro appear to say, Xia, you've changed. Now, typically, I will sit there and say, Caden Carter and Casey Catanzaro, they're good friends, but I had my inner Jack Farmer going, where the hell were you the past 5 months when she was tortured? Jack Farmer walked me through this. What are they thinking, getting involved with a 2,000-year-old being raised by a dragon?
Okay, so I got to say first and foremost, Xia Li, she has transcended. It's no longer she's doing something cool. It's no longer she's doing something interesting. Right now, Xia Li is must-see TV. When she is on, you have to stop what you're doing and watch. Now, Flobo, I watch NXT on Thursday morning because of the other shows and things. breaking the fourth wall here. I was cooking some scrambled eggs, Flobo. I burned them to a crisp because I literally stopped watching the eggs so I could watch what was happening with Xia Li. This is a true story. It burned terribly in my house. I can't turn away when she's on. She is the most fascinating thing going on NXT right now. I love this story. I love everything about it. I love that they're only giving me little bits of it, even though I want more of it. I love that they're rationing it to me. It's amazing. I love it. I want more of it. Every single thing about this worked well for me. I loved seeing Cora Jade on. I think that it was cool that she got a chance to be on TV. Of course, she's been working really hard and got called up to NXT recently, so congratulations to her. That was awesome to see. But Caden Carter and Casey come out, and they were getting in the face of this 2,000-year-old being, and I was thinking to myself for the first time, like, Caden, get out of there. Get out of there.
I just imagine Jack wearing his bonnet and his nails. Oh, you make it out of there, girl. What are you doing?
I will be okay with them getting chokeslammed by Raquel Gonzalez. I'll be okay with Mercedes Martinez destroying them. But when she got in the Dragon Woman's face, I was like, get out of there, get out of there, get out of there. It's dangerous. And you could hear in the audience flow how quiet it got. And everyone was like, listen, like, people were into it. They were watching it. And then the fact that this lady even choked out Boa, even Boa's not safe. It was intense. It was cool. I love the whole thing. This just is a slam dunk for me, this whole thing that they're doing.
Not to make this about a thing way bigger than it is, but a lot of times wrestling fans, we sit and complain about women's divisions and women's place in wrestling cards. And one of the things I'm a big fan of, besides secondary titles, is having undercard or mid-card storylines. And I think Xia Li, even on the small things she's done with like Aaliyah breaking her nose by accident, by purpose, has been so good at being back to these stories that are not about the title, that's not about being the number one contender, just filling in time and just being entertaining for what it is. And as someone who's been on this bandwagon, I am so glad people are jumping on now. Like, make some room, y'all. We're going to the moon, baby. You know what I'm saying?
First off, very cool that you're okay with people jumping on the bandwagon you've already been on, because some people get protective. They're like, no, this is my person. And then they try to educate you on who they were before you became a fan, and it's always annoying. But
yeah,
it's cool that you're open to that. But also, as a fan of wrestling, I've said before, it's fun to watch people develop and like start and find their footing and getting on TV and then doing things. And so as someone who's been watching, yeah, you could see her kind of having sporadic appearances and like, oh, okay, I don't really get what she's doing, but she seems talented. And to see her continue to grow and get more TV time to now, like I said, become must-see TV, I think it's great. It's fun as a viewer and it feels rewarding. I think what they're doing with her is knocking it completely out of the park.
Yeah. Speaking of things that are being knocked out of the park, can we talk about that crisp white Lambo that your boy Cameron Grimes has been riding in? The promo that broke the internet because it was so absurd. Cameron Grimes got stacks of money because he invested in that GameStop and that dog coin. Now, Jack, I know there's a little bit of cringe there because it seems kind of topical, but think about this for a second. What does Cameron Grimes with money mean for the brand and the roster?
This was so much fun, Flobo. I loved it to death. I love the whole thing. I love the Lambo. I love that suit. If we had a best dress section, that suit would win, that nice brown. I thought this was so good. I had a smile from ear to ear the entire time he was doing this. It was so fun. It's such a fun new direction. It was so great, Flobo. This is perfect. I'm so excited to see him like talking crap about Regal, being like, nah, kiss my grits. Kiss my grits. I loved it. I'm so on board with this. I'm so excited. I was giddy the whole time. This is so great. I love Cameron Grimes. He makes me smile. He made me smile before. I'm smiling more now. I'm 100% on board. To the moon.
Mine says, to the moon. Adam Ghazi says, I popped for Grimes promo last night. Now, here's the deal. Because as it is, it should fail. Because it's totally a 180 of the character. It totally was at a high-pitched pace. It totally was absolutely egregious. We've seen wrestlers that were rich characters never work. besides Ted DiBiase. For every Ted DiBiase, there's a Tiger Jeet Singh. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But like, it all came together. He had a new hat. Like, it was just so ridiculously absurd. Question, I gotta ask. He's back now. He said, I'm not gonna fight Loomis no more. Who's next for the Cameron Grimes?
Whoever he wants. He's got the money now. You're right. This should have failed. This should have been terrible. This should have been cringe. But Cameron Grimes executed it perfectly. He did it perfectly. This is one of those things, Flobo, I swear to you, if I was in a boardroom sitting at the head of the table and there was a giant T-Rex skull behind me and they were like, here's an idea we want to try on TV, I'd be like, that would be stupid. But no, but then I see it and I'm like, I would have been wrong. That's great. That was amazing. This was perfectly done. I loved it. I don't care who his next opponent is. I don't care. He doesn't need an opponent. I want to see him come out and just talk about how much money he has. He's so entertaining. He's so fun. I love this guy. I love him.
Question for you guys in the chat. Thank you so much for watching live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. We got the comments pulling in there. If you have an opponent for Cameron Grimes you want to see him wrestle, let us know, because I am really interested to see what this new version of Cameron Grimes goes to. I personally will keep him in the North American title division, but you know who is in the North American title division? My man Kushida, because he had a match against Austin Theory, because on Sunday he has a match for Johnny Gargano. I know. Johnny Gargano is a saint. Lazarus, the way Barrett called him, for even being in the building. But this match against Austin Theory broke down in a multitude of ways, with even Dexter Lumis getting involved.
You know, it's upsetting that Kushida did what he did and didn't get punished for it in any way. You know, but I think it's done. I like that Johnny Gargano's calling him out on it, calling him out for attacking him and breaking his arm. You know what? Kushida's a time traveler. Nuh-uh. Time's up, Kushida. You canceled. You're done. It's no longer cancel culture to cancel Kushida, because I can't believe he did these things and he didn't get in trouble for it. And the fact that he even tried to do it again to Austin Theory, thank God Gargano was there to stop him from breaking his arm, because he was doing it on the outside, so it was illegal. So thankfully, I assume when the match got thrown out, they were DQing Kushida for doing illegal activities. But it's a terrible thing.
Playing dice.
It's just he was attacking him on the outside. He was out of bounds. It was an out of bounds move. It should have been thrown out. Kushida should be disqualified from the match. I can't believe that. Then you have Regal out there trying to play doctor. I mean, this broken X-ray came from a doctor's office. I think they know better than Regal what a broken arm looks like. So I can't believe that Regal tried to be one of these Facebook doctors that pretend they know things and try to analyze things when they have a real doctor who gave an X-ray that says broken arm. Johnny Gargano, I'm sorry you have to deal with this stuff week in and week out. But you know, he also had another great line tonight, by the way. There I was minding my own business, trying not to get Not McKenzie fired.
That was pretty funny.
Anyways, my rant just kind of went off a sidetrack, dovetail there, but whatever.
He said his arm was broken in 4 places. Mm-hmm. The X-ray saw an arm broken in 4 places, but he was in a sling. What doctor wouldn't give a guy with a broken arm in 4 places a cast? Are you kidding me, Jack? And the fact you said, time's up, you're done, is the most millennial carrying crossing I've ever heard in my life. Johnny Gargano is going to get his comeuppance when it's all said and done. Kushida is on path to being the next North American champion.
You didn't listen to a thing Johnny said. It had an R on there because it was real. Duh.
Oh, right.
That's what it said the R for.
It was certified, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't like, you can pretend that you know more about doctoring than doctors do, but Johnny Gargano had the evidence.
Doctoring is a verb in that context. You doctor photos. Doctors don't do this. Look at me. I'm doctoring this thing today. I'm a surgeon.
But you know, seriously, like, it's so unfair. Like, right now, Regal is saying that even though Johnny Gargano's injured, he has to either defend the title or drop the title. When he let Finn Balor stay on the shelf for months to recover. Why didn't Finn Balor have to drop his title? He got time to recover.
Karrion Kross had to drop his title when he separated his shoulder. But when you have a broken jaw, there's a chance, because it can be healed in 2 to 4 to 6 weeks. It is an ongoing injury that has an indefinite timetable. You separate a shoulder, it's months. You break your arm in 4 places, it's months, Jack. Are you kidding me?
Okay, so give Johnny Gargano 2 to 4 to 6 to 8 to 9 to 12 to 47 weeks. I don't see what's so tricky about that.
Well, if he wasn't such a rapscallion or ne'er-do-well backstage, maybe Regal would help to help him out. Maybe.
I mean, as you know, as Johnny said, I'm just sickened that we're gonna lose the opportunity to watch another Beautiful Day music video with him coming back.
I like the sacrifice ones myself, but I'm dating myself. Just two things I want your comments on real quick before we get to the Vengeance Day promo. Escobar versus Cross is next week, and he's tired of running so much he took out two guys that lost their own match, poor fellows. And Imperium is getting recharged. Thoughts about carrying Cross in the Cruiserweight division and the return, possibly, of Imperium?
Why is it Cross going to the Cruiserweight division and not Escobar going to the Heavyweight division?
Because Cross is challenging.
I think Escobar sent two guys after Cross. Unfortunately, they got someone attacked them backstage.
Cross has been planting things in his locker room like tarot cards and other weapons.
That's just Dexter Loomis creepy. That's not challenging somebody.
Okay. So if you go home tonight and you see my gavel just hanging out on your couch, you'll be like, oh, that's cool.
No, I'm going to say that's creepy. I'm not going to say Flobo's challenged me for the podcasting world title.
I am, sucker. Asterisk. No,
the asterisk world title. If I had money to throw away, I would 100% get an asterisk world title.
Let's make it happen.
But I think they're going to have a great match. I love Escobar. I love Legado del Fantasma. I love that. I think that's a great pairing. And I think that this is going to be maybe a test to see if Escobar's ready for some bigger opponents, and which I think he is. I think that's the direction they're going to go with him. And I think that's his next step, is getting bigger and fighting the bigger guys. I think this is going to be a great match. It was kind of funny when Regal said, I've got to handle some business, and then he opens the door and Scarlett was sitting there. I was thinking, Regal's got to handle some business. Okay.
Way to make it super obvious, right? Excuse me.
But I think that'll be a fun match, and I think it's done well, and I think both guys will look great at the end of it. But you got to give Escobar credit; he's coming after Cross. He's not backing down. Most guys back down, but he's really standing up to him.
Bah humbug. I don't like this at all, but I don't really know where you put Cross. He's kind of his own entity. In my opinion, please someone prove me wrong, but I don't really see Cross being in the mix in that card too. Looks like he's kind of an uncrowned North American or NXT champion, or I think he's an uncrowned NXT champion, but there's nowhere to put him with Finn Balor and then all the other fallout from that and Pat McAfee and all that stuff. It's like he has to wait his turn again. So
yeah, I think Pat McAfee versus Karrion Kross would be really intense. They'd have a great rivalry.
I would see that, but you have to give me a reason. I guess I'd be on trouble with the reason of them.
Pat McAfee?
Yeah, like why would Pat? I guess what I'm saying is I still have to be sold that he's done with Adam Cole. I still don't think he's done. Even though he's not on TV right now, I feel like he still has one more match in there, one more interaction with them. Give me a reason why Karrion Kross is that guy.
Oh, the match with Pat McAfee before Pat McAfee moves to the Raw or SmackDown.
You only get called up if you win a match, Jack. You can't be 0-2 like, give him the rocket. It doesn't work like that.
I'm telling you right now, WrestleMania 37, it's going to be, 37. What's this year? 36?
37.
37. Oh, WrestleMania 38. Pat McAfee versus Bad Bunny. Headline.
Oh, Bad Bunny's retaining. Absolutely, he's retaining. Are you kidding me?
But which one of them is going to be the one pointing at the WrestleMania sign? That's the question, Flobo.
Pat McAfee wins the Rumble. I'm going to log off. That's what. Guys, I'm done. And Dylan Matthews says Karrion Kross will be scared of Pat McAfee, and rightfully so.
Yeah, I agree. The greatest wrestler in the history of the world, Pat McAfee. I wouldn't get in the ring with him.
You guys troll me too hard. But as we mentioned here, this is actually one of the few times that I'm from being honest with you and being honest with the fans out there. I've been legitimately hyped before a pay-per-view. I watch them all. I like looking forward to. I very wait and see. But that last segment of NXT, having the commentators tell us about Vengeance Day, really put me in the mood to see some wrestling. This card right now is official. Finn Balor versus Pete Dunne for the NXT Championship. MSK versus GYV for the Male Dusty Classic. Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez versus Shotzi Blackheart, Ember Moon for the Female Dusty Classic Cup. Mercedes Martinez, Io Shirai, and Toni Storm will battle for the NXT Women's Championship. And of course, the North American title is also on the line with Johnny Gargano of The Way versus Kushida. So walk me through this, man. I know we talked about a little bit here and there about who you have picked, but down the card, what are your picks for Sunday's Vengeance Day?
I do have to say, I loved the way this episode closed out. I loved the way they had everyone face off with each other, but not in like a big melee sort of way, sort of in a presentation way. I thought it was done really well. I thought it was really cool. And we haven't seen that in wrestling, at least not in a long time.
Yeah.
Not that I can remember off the top of my head anyways. And so I thought that was a really cool touch. I really liked that they did that. And I thought whoever's idea for that deserves a little tip of the hat. But
no raise, just a tip of the hat.
No raise in this economy. So, so I thought that was great. I think just real quick off the top of my head, I didn't write down all the matches. I think
Balor done.
I think Finn retains.
MSK versus GYV.
GYV.
Kai Gonzalez, Blackheart Moon.
I go Gonzalez.
Just her. Sorry, Dakota. Don't even show up to work on Sunday.
I keep saying it. Gonzalez is going to win the whole thing by herself.
Mercedes Martinez, Io Shirai, and Toni Storm for the strap.
I say Toni Storm. That's my risky biscuit.
Which is interesting because I'm a Toni Storm guy. But I'm thinking of retaining here.
I mean, Io's so good. I mean, I think she's the best female wrestler on the planet right this minute. So she's so good, but I think this is the kind of scenario where Toni Storm can take advantage of the fact that it's 3 and not 2 and get the win.
And finally, Gargano Kushida.
Gargano.
Okay. Shout
I mean,
to Mark who
assuming his arm is okay. I mean, I'm sure that Kushida's gone to the future and seen what the situation is and scouted the match already. But Gargano can overcome it.
Shout out to Mark who says this show's the best part of his day. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, I am kind of in the same boat a little bit. I have Balor retaining. I hate the fact that Pete Dunne was kind of like hot-shotted there, but the match is going to be great because it's the first time ever. So that's going to be one for the archives where...
That shocks me, by the way.
Yeah, it does too. Even though the result may be predictable by our standards, it may be a classic to go back to 5, 10, 15 years from now. Mm-hmm. I have GYV too. They deserve it. They look polished. I want to get a scarf now. They have that on Shop Zone. They have to have that. I always will pop if Blackheart wins. I wouldn't be mad if Gonzalez wins, but I'm rooting for Blackheart and Moon here. Just for Blackheart's rise and Moon's relevancy, I want them to win this cup classic. Mercedes Martinez is a sentimental favorite. I feel like I could not win a fight with Mercedes Martinez. I can't win with anybody, really. But I think she would knock me out. KO as opposed to being like a submission victory here. So I'm voting for Mercedes here, even though I think Io will retain. And then my boy, Kushida. This guy was the quintessential talent that came from elsewhere, was quickly written off, was said not to fit in the system, and has scratched and clawed in his way in a non-sentimental way to be part of the fold. I think he walks away with the North American title on Sunday. He has to.
Scratch and claw, Flobo, both of those are illegal moves, and that's why he's going to get DQ'd. You're not allowed to do that.
He thumbed to the eye. He did a low blow. Do whatever he can to get to the top.
Fair enough.
So Vengeance Day is this Sunday. Are you going to watch it live? Is that your actual date night? Are you doing something beforehand or watching it on delay on Monday? What's your plans?
I'm not sure yet. I'll probably end up watching it on Monday.
Yeah, same here. They get that condensed feel.
I mean, I know. I mean, I like it, but it's Sundays. It's Valentine's Day. I mean,
something tells me he's going to see a suit guy.
I'm going to go see this. There's still a day for me.
That was time for our favorite segment of the show. It's called the MVP of NXT. That's the one person, tag team, or staff member that totally shot for the moon, baby. Either Brad, Jack, Farmer. Who do you got this week?
Man, every week it's so tough, man. There's a few I want to give a shout out to, but I got to go Cameron Grimes, man. Way to make a return. Way to make the best of your time off. Way to learn to play video games, by the way. I thought this was such a fun promo. It was so out of nowhere. It was so unexpected, and it was executed so well. I think if anyone else on any brand tried to do this, it wouldn't have worked as well as it did. He nailed it. It was perfect. Cameron Grimes.
It was funny to me because before we went live, I said, who do you got for this? And I was like, you know what? I have two things I think you're going to pick. It's either going to be Cameron Grimes or Eddie Dennis for being so cunning in today's NXT UK matchup. Just real quick, Dylan Matthews says there's no GYV scarf for WWE Shop. Adam Gotze says he's watching it live. I'm actually broadcasting a Rocket League tournament. That's the only reason why I'm not seeing it live. But I too have no lady friends, and yeah, of course it has to have underdog story. I love underdog stories that comes this. But for me, it's got to be GYV. You know, these guys came in last year as the upstart. They are established. They are a slick oiled unit. They've been only in NXT this version for just a couple weeks, and they look like uncrowned champions in their own right. Even though they're rebuilding Imperium, this may be the torchbearer for British Tag Team Wrasslin. GYV does it for me. And yes, Dylan Matthews, shout out to lady friends. Jack Farmer, it's quitting time. You have to get ready for the Everything Tournament live on the Evan T. Mac channel at twitch.tv/CocoCena. I know I'm ready. I know you are, but where can the world find you online?
Yeah, you can find me at Real Jack Farmer across all social media. As Flobo mentioned, you can check me out on Everything Tournament. You can check me out on Elite of the Week, as we talked about earlier in the show. You can also check me out hosting the United Wrestling Network's Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, where we have some of the best wrestlers across the globe coming together to have matches presented, as always, by Car Shield. You can check it out for free, streaming on Fight TV.
He got done left that Brosters behind, but for
I
sure,
still like Brosters. They were very good to me. I have no hard feelings towards them.
of course not, no hard feelings at all. We're just going in separate directions. I want to say that Valentine's Day is my second favorite holiday of the year, so please call someone you love. It doesn't matter if it's romantic or platonic. Please tell someone you love, especially now in this times. My name is Flobo Boyce. You can follow me on Twitter at Flobo Boyce or on Instagram at Flobito. Flobito.com is the website. NewAmsterdam.com. KNW is the website for all the all content. And if you want to support the homie, buy a t-shirt at Flobito.threadless.com. We'll be back here next week with more NXT UK and NXT recap action. But until next time, Jack Farmer, say the words.
Do your best and be yourself.